Hello, I am Felicia Petway of Pause Heal Love Community, and welcome to today's session about authority in human design. If this is the first time you're joining me, I strongly suggest you watch my video titled Intro to Human Design to help you better understand the topic. Before we begin, I always like to have us start with a centering practice to just arrive in this space. We are going to take in quite a bit of information, and I really want to help you prepare to receive this information. So I'm going to invite you to sit up nice and tall with your back resting against a chair, feet planted on the floor, or if you are lying down, or sitting on a couch or something, then allow your feet to just spread out in front of you comfortably. And when you're ready and when it feels comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes and start to focus on the breath. Start to notice the inhale and the exhale. And now with the next inhale, can you slow it down, taking it in all the way to the belly without forcing it? And then slowly exhaling it out through the nose. And let's continue doing that for a few more breaths. Just inhale, sending the breath all the way into the belly. And then slowly exhaling it out. Let's do that a few more times. Let's do one more time. And when you're ready, you may gently open your eyes and we'll go ahead and get started. So let's start with what authority is exactly. Authority is how we're designed to make decisions, and it will keep you aligned with your right path if and when you follow it. When we practice using our strategy and authority, the right things will simply fall into place. For example, you'll be around the right people in the right places, the right opportunities will come your way, and things will become more easeful and effortless. Authority allows you to trust your decisions without hesitancy and with more confidence. Let me remind you that your mind is not your authority and is not meant to be used to make decisions. Here is a great example for why this is from Chetan Parker's book, Human Design. So he says that the mind has no direct connection to the motor centers of the heart, sacral self, and root. Therefore, it has no power to move us forward. The mind is designed to process information, not to decide things. Your best decision-making process depends on your design. The best designs come from either the emotions, the sacral, the spleen, the heart, or the self, or for some people, from outside the self. And I will explain each of these shortly. So why should you use your authority? Well, for the first thing, it's an essential part of your human design. It keeps you moving towards alignment. It makes your life easier. You will be able to relax about making right decisions because if you use your authority over and over, you'll just begin to start to trust it more and more. And then you won't have to stress about making decisions. Don't make using your authority complicated. None of the authorities are meant to be complicated. Simply start experimenting with it and using it more in your life. And one thing I do want to point out is that because it is a part of your design, you may have naturally used it and just didn't realize it or may not remember it. You can know someone's authority when looking at their chart through their defined centers and because there is a hierarchy to authority. A defined solar plexus is emotional authority, and it is the highest in the hierarchy. This authority will trump all other authorities. So if you see a defined solar plexus in anyone's chart, they automatically will have emotional authority. Next, a defined sacral is sacral authority. You will only have this authority if you do not have a defined solar plexus. A defined spleen is splenic authority. You will only have this authority if you do not have a defined solar plexus or sacral. A defined will heart is ego authority. You will only have this authority if you do not have a defined solar plexus, sacral, or spleen. A defined G identity center is self-authority, and you will only have this if you do not have a defined solar plexus, sacral, spleen, or ego. And I think you're getting the gist of this now. Environmental/mental/sounding board authority will only apply to projectors. And usually that means that they will have no definition below the throat center. And what happens is that they may have their ajna defined, which will then make it mental authority, but I'll get into that and why that's not really the authority. The next one is lunar authority, and that only applies to reflectors, and this authority has no defined centers whatsoever. Now let's take a brief look at each one of these so that you have better understanding. Let's start with the highest one, which is the emotional authority. If your solar plexus is colored in, and I'll highlight it here, this is the lighter colored one. So if your solar plexus is colored in, then this is your authority. 50% of the population has this authority. Unfortunately, many of us have been conditioned to not trust our authority. We have been conditioned to believe it's bad or weak to take your time making a decision. Ra, the founder of Human Design, advises that for those with an emotional authority, there is no truth in the now. So this authority is not meant for spontaneous decisions. You are meant to take your time with this authority. I recommend that you allow yourself to sleep on any decisions you have to make before making them. So how do you know when you should commit to a decision? Well, when it feels right and you have a calm confidence in your decision, that's how you pretty much know you have a decision made. The thing with this authority is that you will never really be a 100% clear. That's just the way it is. It's not good or bad. I also have an emotional authority. So when I say we, I'm including myself in that. We will be about 80% clear. And we have to just trust that in that moment, once we've decided, once we've given ourselves time, that we are making the best decision. Another thing I want to point out for those of us with an emotional authority is that waiting won't affect the right decisions. So if someone is forcing you to make a decision right away, it's probably not the right decision for you. So start practicing using your authority more. And here are a few ways you could practice. So a really quick, easy way to do it is if you start to feel hungry, right? Don't eat right away when the impulse hits. Wait a while to see if the hunger grows or if the hunger dissipates. Another way to practice using your authority for emotional authority is you could be the last person to order at the restaurant. And this allows you to give yourself more time. I hope those work out. Next is sacral authority. If your sacral is defined, and I'll highlight that here, if the sacral is defined, but your solar plexus is not defined, then you have sacral authority. This is the second most popular authority with about 35% of the population having it. Only generator types can have this authority. With this authority, you are designed to listen to your gut. Your sacral will respond with a nonverbal uh-huh or uh-uh, or you will feel a movement towards something or away from something. The sacral provides instant decisions. It will provide you with the energy to do it or not. So that's why generators must wait to respond. If you're not sure about something, either the question needs to be asked in a different way or it's simply a no. The most important thing to remember with sacral authority is to allow the sacral to respond to something and trust that first response. Splenic authority. This is your authority if you have the spleen defined, but neither the solar plexus or the sacral is defined. So the spleen is here. And notice that the sacral and the solar plexus are not defined. This is the third most common authority with 10% of the population having it. Only manifestors and projectors can have this authority. The spleen is where our intuition and our survival instincts live. The spleen will not explain itself. It is only concerned with survival. Everything is in the now with the spleen. It's quick and quiet, and it's only going to tell you one time. So you must learn to trust your first instinct. Trust yourself when you want to back out of something or someplace, or when being around certain people. Trust yourself. Keep a log of when you listen to your splenic authority or not. The instinct from this authority is unpredictable. Follow what it tells you in that second before your mind can judge. So really practice trusting this authority if you have it. Ego authority. So there are two types of this authority. Ego manifested, which is the example I have showing right now, and the next one I'll show is ego projected. When you have ego authority, it's good to have alone time for big decisions, so you're not conditioned by emotions or the energy of others. You must follow your heart with this authority and make selfish decisions because it's about the impact on you, not others. It's important for you to be completely true to yourself and know who you are. This is how you're designed. So own your design and your authority, because by doing that, you positively impact those around you. So simply honor and trust your design. So now let me go into ego manifested first. Ego manifested only applies to manifestors. The ego will be directly connected to the throat center. So the ego will be directly connected to the throat, as you see here in the diagram, or you may have the ego also connected through the G, connected to the throat. So all three of these may be connected and defined. This is an uncommon authority with only 0.8% of the population having it. With this connection to the throat center, the ego motor starts up and just spits out the truth. Allow yourself to blurt things out. Stop filtering yourself. If you've been conditioned to worry about what other people think, practice letting this go. With this authority, you can follow something through by sheer force of will. Go after what you choose in life and inform others. Own who you are and own what you want. For small decisions, do what you want when you want. You probably know what you like and don't like. Do the things that you like. Here is an example of ego projected. The ego center will be directly connected to the G center. So here you have the ego is directly connected to the G. This is the least common authority with 0.46% of the population having it. With this authority, you want to let your heart guide you. Be selfish and always ask what's in it for me. How does this affect me? Does this benefit me? Your correct decisions will benefit everyone around you. So being selfish is the least selfish thing you can do. You still want to wait for the invites. Let life be magnetized to you. The ego motor will turn on for the right invitation. For small decisions, you are meant to make decisions that are exciting for you, so they become stepping stones for a bigger goal. Now let's take a look at self-authority, also known as self-projected authority. Only projectors can have this authority. This authority has a defined G center connected to the throat center. None of the other authority centers are defined. This is an uncommon authority with less than 3% of the population having it. With this authority, you want to talk out loud to yourself, unfiltered. Your clarity will come through your voice. When talking out loud, you can talk to yourself, to God, or to someone you trust. However, you're not doing this for their opinions or advice. You want to let that person reflect back to you who you are. So correct decisions come from expressing your identity through the throat. It's easier for you to make small decisions when you're alone because you're not being conditioned by others. When with others, talk about small decisions because as you talk, you will hear what it is you want. Environmental authority. Only projectors can have this authority. You will know this authority because there will be no defined centers below the throat center. So here the throat is not defined, but sometimes it might be. But you notice the ajna and the head are both defined. So again, that means that the throat, the ajna, or the head are defined, or some variation of the three are defined. This authority is also known as mental authority, sounding board authority, outer authority, or no authority. This is another uncommon authority with about 2% of the population having it. There is no inner authority here. Even though the ajna and head may be defined, you are not meant to use your mind as an authority. So we are no longer designed to use our mind to make decisions. Our mind still thinks it is, but it is not, right? So if you have this authority, it is a reminder for you that you are not meant to use your mind to make decisions. It is best for you to seek out correct environments. When you are in the right place, you will make good decisions that are right for you. You may also want to use trusted people as a sounding board to hear you out, not to give you their advice or opinions, simply to sound off those ideas. Ideally, you want to soundboard with more than one person. It is recommended that you do this with about 3 people because each time you will get more clear or get more data as you're soundboarding off of each person. When making small decisions, you want to stick with what you like or what feels good to you, and don't let others condition you away from these things. So now we get to lunar authority. Only reflectors will have this authority. And as you can see, there is no definition in the body graph. About 1.45% of the population has this authority. With lunar authority, you are meant to wait 28 days or a full lunar cycle for big decisions. Pay attention to your feelings over time. Rushed decisions are not for you. Talk things out over time in different environments and with different people, and wait until you come to clarity. Like the moon circles the earth and sees the earth from various angles, you see your decision differently by waiting a full lunar cycle. Over time, you'll come to clarity and know what's the right decision. So for small decisions, you can pretty much do what you want. You are designed to handle pretty much anything without being afraid. But remember, for big decisions, you want to wait a full lunar cycle. So in conclusion, I want to stress to you to not make authority complicated because none of the authorities are. Don't search for more and more information about them. Simply start experimenting with it by using your authority more in your life. This is a part of your design. So again, it might just come naturally for you. And if it doesn't, start experimenting with it to see and build that trust. That's it for today. Let me know if you found this helpful. And if you enjoyed this session, please like and share this video and feel free to subscribe to my channel to learn more. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.